Hi guys, Wheelie here. Today I'm going to show you 11 of my favorite things and then I'm going to give them away. I feel a little bit like Julie Andrews, except my song would go raindrops on roses and yarn, lots and lots of yarn. Or maybe I'm a little bit more like Oprah today and there's yarn under your seat. There probably is yarn under your seat if you're anything like me. So I have something to celebrate. In September 2021, I started my YouTube channel, and in September 2022, I hit 1,000 subscribers. I think that's pretty exciting. I don't even know 1,000 people in real life. So I wanted to use this as an opportunity to say thank you and also to get to know some of you a little bit better. So before I start showing you all of my goodies, if you are interested in getting your hands on this gift, just make sure you watch to the end of the video where I will explain in detail how you enter. This is open worldwide, so everybody has an opportunity to win. And as YouTube is eternal, or it feels like it is, if the competition has closed, I will change the name of the video, the title of it, so you'll be able to tell. You might still want to watch the video because I always like to get a personal recommendation on yarn and crochet gadgets, and I might be showing you some new things that you haven't seen before. If you watch to the end of the video, I have a second bonus giveaway that you might be interested in entering too. So for now, sit back, relax, and let me show you some of my favorite things. Number one on my favorite things list is this Stenley muffin. Now, Stenley muffins are a really new addition to my favorite things. I've only recently come across them, but I am in love. Muffins are acrylic yarn and they are so soft and light. This is a 430 gram muffin of yarn and it's got 2,000 meters of yarn in here. This one muffin is more than enough to make a decent sized baby blanket, even if you use a stitch like wattle stitch. I made this blanket recently and I have almost the whole last section of the muffin left, easily enough yarn to make a matching baby cardigan or lovey. The yarn itself is not twisted. It's made up of 3 strands of yarn that just lie next to each other. So if you're not used to working with yarn like that, it does take a little bit of getting used to. But once you're used to it, it's just absolutely gorgeous to work with. And you can start in the middle or at the end and just keep working the whole way through your blanket without a single yarn change, which is just lovely. The color changes are in really large sections, as you'll see in the blanket that I made, and the color changes really gradually, just one of those 3 strands at a time, with the new color brought in with a tiny, tiny little knot. These are very like something like a Sheepier's Whirl, but a whole lot cheaper. So that is my first favorite thing. Number 2 is this little red box. This is a Clover row counter. Now I've got one exactly like it. So row counters are not magic. You just click the button and the number goes up, but they are really handy. You can stop making little check marks on a piece of paper next to you and just start clicking. The risk though is that everybody likes to click them, so you have to keep it secret, keep it safe, or people in your house will move you up a row without you noticing. These are a little bit different from the knitting ones, which you might be familiar with, which are tiny little round things that are, I find, really difficult to use. Whenever I use one of those, I want to throw it across the room, whereas I love this. So I got you one too. Favorite thing number 3 is 3 balls of 4 Seasons Marvel 8-ply in 100% acrylic. Now I'm going to use the Australian terms for yarn weight through this video, but I will write up on the screen the other names for it. I can never keep them in my head, so I don't want to get it wrong and mix it up. So in Australian terms, this is 8-ply yarn, and this yarn is my everyday yarn. It's one of my favorite things because I can afford to buy it in really large quantities and I usually buy it on special. I use this in a lot of my videos. It is reliable, it is ordinary, it comes in a massive range of colors and it's quite nice to work with. It's a dense kind of yarn, it doesn't split easily. It is what it is, it's a normal yarn. So I've got you 3 balls of it in 3 rather nice colors that I think go well together. I've got you raspberry, duck egg and sea green. Favorite thing number 4 is a pair of crane scissors. So I absolutely love my crane snipping scissors. They are satisfyingly snippy, they're nice and sharp, they work well, and they're super cute. I couldn't get the same brand that I bought, but I hope these are a decent quality. I didn't buy cheap ones for you. And I got you really pretty rose gold ones. Rose gold was really popular last season, so maybe it's a little bit of a passe thing, but I think they're really cute and I hope you'll enjoy them. This is Peyton's Sierra yarn. I am in love with this yarn. To me, this is my mindful yarn. When I'm feeling a bit low or I'm having a hard day, this is the yarn I want to use. Sierra comes in a whole range of different colors, and I don't think there's a bad one in there. They're all beautiful and interesting. I've picked Purple Mountain for you, mainly because I accidentally massively overordered it. I made a friend of mine a beautiful poncho out of this, and I ordered about double the quantity that I needed. What a terrible mistake. So the reason I love Sierra yarn is that it is a multicolored yarn which has a lot of variation in texture and yarn thickness within the ball. And I know that sounds like a bad thing, but it's not. It's glorious because none of the textures are bad. The yarn always feels beautiful. It just feels different between color changes. So if you enjoy mindful crochet, then this is perfect because it keeps your mind on the task that you're doing, because each color change is interesting. You find yourself looking at your work and anticipating the color changes. I love it. I know I sound like it's almost a religion to me, but I love this yarn and I really hope you'll enjoy it too. What number am I up to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 6 is a shawl pin. I think these are brilliant. I wish I had discovered them earlier because I love wearing shawls and wraps, but they're always slipping off my shoulders. I actually used to think I couldn't wear triangular shawls because they kind of get in the way of my arms, and particularly when I'm in a manual wheelchair, that is a big problem because I need to be able to use my arms easily. Shawl pins, brilliant. They hold your shawl in place. It's not rocket science, but I got you a really nice Knit Pro one. Because I'm not sure of your taste, I went for something that I think is a little bit classic and simple. It's a nice dark wood for the actual kind of brooch part of the shawl pin, and the stick, that's the technical term, is a mix of a paler wood with a little strip of the darker wood. These are really pretty, really simple. If it's not your taste, I guess you could give it to a friend. They are lovely as gifts, particularly if you've made a shawl, to give a shawl pin with it. It's rather nice. So I hope you'll enjoy that. The next item, number 7, is Mondial Van Gogh yarn. Now, I am probably saying this wrong, and I'll admit I actually used to say Peyton's wrong. I used to say it patterns until I was corrected. So it's not a surprise if I pronounce Mondial Van Gogh wrong. But Mondial Van Gogh, definitely said it wrong then. Mondial Van Gogh yarn is another mix yarn. It's a mix of merino and microfiber. And this is in my list of favorite things because it has a little bit of a story behind it. So the yarn I've picked for you is a nice cheerful pinky red color, and you can see it's got a mix of colors in it. When I first started crocheting, I had only ever used solid color acrylic yarn, and I saw multicolor yarn on the internet. I was just amazed. I was like, wow, I can have more than one color without having to weave in the ends. I was so excited. So I took my first trip to the yarn aisle at Spotlight. Australians will know what I'm talking about there. Spotlight yarn aisle, it's the business. And I wanted to buy multicolor yarn, and this is the brand that I picked. I picked a mottled blue kind of yarn, and I took it home and I opened it up immediately and started crocheting, and I hated it. It was, oh my gosh, it split, it caught, I kept making mistakes and having to frog because I was still learning, and every time I had to frog, I'd have to sort of rip the yarn apart to get it to come free. And then when I finished my beanie, I hated it. It was, well, at the time, I remember saying I thought it looked really manly. I had imagined that the blue would be brighter, but the finished product looked a lot darker and more kind of like cloudy gray with a hint of blue. So I hated it. And I put it in my drawer and I never wore it. And then a couple of months later, when I was more confident in my crochet, I pulled it out again and I took it back a few rows and changed the hat up a little bit and made a flower and stuck it on there. And now that is my favorite hat. I wear it all the time. It's brilliant for wearing inside when I want to cover up my lack of hair a little bit. And every time I wear it, I think of sort of the learning curve of crochet, that each step you take, you make mistakes and you learn new things. And that was the beginning for me of learning more about yarn. At that stage, I didn't really even understand the different yarn weights. I didn't really understand how to read the label of a yarn ball. So I've given you guys a ball of the Mondale Van Gogh because it really is a beautiful yarn. It's lovely to work with. When I use it now, I never split it. I never have any trouble with it. But it's different from, you know, your bog standard acrylic yarn. So I hope that you will enjoy that. I hope that you like the color. I thought it was pretty and cheerful, not like my first attempt, which was blue-gray and dull. A tape measure. Can you imagine anything more exciting? But guys, gauge is so important. And if you don't have a tape measure, you can't check your gauge. And if you don't check your gauge, you're going to end up with Barbie doll sized hats and enormous mammoth mittens. If you're just learning to crochet, gauge is when you match your stitch size and style to the stitches in the design or the pattern to make sure that you're making the same sized item as the person who wrote the design intended, because your stitches are affected by your hook, by the yarn you use, and by your tension. So even if you were to use exactly the same hook and yarn as me, your stitches might be a little bit different. You might find you need to go down or up a hook size, and you'll only know that if you have a tape measure. But this little spotty tape measure, I got myself one too. These are really fun. Listen to this. Again, this is like 50% fidget toy, a little bit like the row counter. I love these. And I have always just had like a basic tape measure, and I think I spend about half my time rolling it back up again as it gets twisted and caught on things. And now, very high tech. I would have loved to give you a sheepie as well, but until I win Lotto, instead you're getting 2 balls of Sheepier's Merino Soft. And this really is soft, 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 and it is such a luxury yarn. It only comes in 50-gram balls, so tiny little balls, great big price tag. And it's got these cute little bits here so that you can pull from the center, which I think is such a nice touch, and I'm not going to pull that, otherwise your yarn will come apart. Put that back in there. So I got a sheepie as well earlier in the year as part of a mystery box, and I've got to tell you, it was gorgeous to work with, absolutely beautiful. It was a fine art whirl, which is a wool-based whirl, and I used it to make the most gorgeous triangle shawl for a really good friend of mine, and she's going to wear that on her wedding day, so it was really special. So what I got for you, rather than the whirl, I'm afraid, is a paler pink and a darker pink, and the colors are Titian and Modigliani, and I have actually used these colors as well because they matched the fine art whirl. So I went back and got some more of the same so that you could try them. I think there'd be enough here to make a pair of gloves, and it really is soft and gorgeous. So I hope you'll enjoy that. I got you a crochet hook. So when I started crocheting, like most people, I started with a metal hook. I think we probably all start with budget hooks unless we get lucky and someone gives us a fancy one. From my budget metal hook, I moved on pretty quickly to hooks with rubber grips, and I thought they were the business. I really couldn't understand why anybody would spend more than a couple of dollars on a crochet hook. It seemed like such a ridiculous extravagance. And then I bought an expensive crochet hook. I bought one of these tulip Etimo hooks on a whim, and I had to eat my words. It's amazing. It's like the difference between having smooth fingernails and when you've got lots of little scratchy bits on them. These hooks just slide through the yarn and make the whole experience so much easier. You don't even know what you're missing until you try one. But having said that, everybody's taste in crochet hooks is a little bit different. So if you win this and you try it and you're like, what was she talking about? It might just be that this is not the right hook for you. So if you have a little bit of extra money and you are really enjoying crochet, but all you've got is your basic hook, think about what your favorite yarn is, which yarn weight you use most, which hook you use most, and maybe just try one of the more expensive hooks. Just buy one and give it a go. because there's probably one out there that you're going to find you love. For me, it's definitely the Tulip Etimo ones. I've actually splurged and bought an entire set because I'm addicted to them. So I got you one too. Number 11 is a bag. Wow. Don't worry. I use bags like this as project bags. In fact, I have this bag, so I got you the same one. I never have one project on the go. I usually have about 10, and I keep them all in these bags so that the pieces stay together. I sometimes keep the hook in there with it, or at least a piece of paper with what the hook size is. And conveniently, your prize fits inside this bag. So number 11 is a bag to keep all the goodies in. So those are 11 of my favorite things, and I bet you'd like to know how you can get your hands on them. Well, it's really quite easy. Entries open worldwide, as I said, and to enter, you need to subscribe to my channel and hit like on this video. Once you've done that, you need to comment. In that comment, I want you to have 3 things. The first, tell me where in the world you live. I'd like to know the country you're in and the state or province or city that you live in. I live in Australia and I'm in Western Australia in Perth, so hello from very hot Perth. The second thing you need to have in that comment, I'd like to know which of my 11 favorite things you're keenest to get your hands on. What looked best to you? And the third thing you need to have in that comment for an eligible entry is I'd like to know if you were putting together something like this, a parcel of goodies to send to a crocheter on the other side of the world. What is one thing that you would absolutely include in there? What's one of your favorite things? And it's as simple as that. This competition closes in 3 weeks. The date and day are up on the screen for you now. The competition will close at 8 p.m. Perth time, which is GMT +8. When the competition has closed, I'll put a note on the title of the video saying it has closed, and I'll be announcing the winner in a video. So this is really important, guys. There are some scammers going around YouTube at the moment putting comments and replies to people's comments saying that they've won something and saying to click a link. Please do not click any of those links. If you've won, I will announce it in a video and I'll let you know how to get in contact with me then. I definitely will not be asking for your credit card details. Before you go, I have a bonus little extra present that I'm giving away. If you can find the green sheep. In Australia, there's a children's book written by Mem Fox called Where is the Green Sheep? That's really popular, and I used to love reading it to my son when he was little. So when I realized that I had too many favorite things to fit in the donut worry bag, I thought, well, why not send you guys on a sheep hunt? In one of my videos, this little green sheep makes an appearance. There are other sheep in some of my other videos. I sometimes use them as pin cushions, so don't get confused. You are looking for this little green guy. If you can find the video that he appears in and leave me a comment on that video, not this one, the one with the sheep, letting me know in that comment where you live and what your worst crochet mistake has been. Let me know where you've gone wrong. Tell me something funny. And then you could win this. And your prize will be 2 balls of 4 Seasons Marvel Acrylic 12 ply denim effect yarn. This denim effect yarn, the colors are really soft and pretty. They tone really well. It's a kind of mild look yarn and it is really, really soft and lovely. I'm not sure why, but the 4 Seasons acrylic yarns between different weights, they feel completely different. So this yarn doesn't feel anything like the 8 ply yarn that I'm giving away in my favorite things. It's much softer. It's a looser kind of weave yarn and it's got this pretty mild effect to it. And I picked you 2 colors that I thought toned quite nicely. And I'm also going to give you one of my beanies. This is a climbing vine beanie. The color it's made in is called Mallard, which I think is rather a nice name. It's sort of a darker version of their duck egg blue. It's a women's beanie and hopefully it will fit you and hopefully it'll keep your head nice and warm. And that will be your prize if you can find the green sheep. That is it for today. I hope that you've enjoyed this, checking out my favorite things. And I hope that you will enter the competition and let some of your friends know so they've got a chance to win too. I will post the video announcing the winner as soon as possible after the competition closes, but please do be patient. I'm not well, and sometimes that does throw a curveball and delay things a little bit, but I will move as quickly as I can because I know you'll be keen to know whether you've won or not. See you again soon.